Your life today, the reality you're living, is just an apparently real projection that your mind created over the years. Everything that exists in a person's life, whether good or bad, exists first in their mind. Your mind works like a movie projector. The film that plays inside is the exact film that will be projected outside. Before it happens out there, everything happens in here. I knew someone once. Someone with enormous potential. Creative, intelligent, capable of things most people could never achieve. But trapped. Completely trapped. In their mind were recorded every type of money limitation you can imagine. A protective layer against prosperity, built from old traumas. For them, money was something negative, evil. Marketing only serves to deceive people. Selling is lying.
This belief was so strong that eventually they said they didn't care anymore about prospering, that it wasn't even what they wanted, that it wasn't a priority. But here's the truth I learned. They always complained about not having money to do what they loved, to travel more, to live in a comfortable place, to help their family. So it wasn't okay. Not prospering wasn't okay. This person created this belief as an interior defense tool, a rationalization, often because they didn't feel capable, didn't feel deserving. You see, every prosperity problem is a self-esteem problem. There's a deep wound in the person's self-esteem, and this wound has two origins. Either the person doesn't feel deserving of having something, they have an internal sensation of unworthiness, the typical case of someone afraid of being a fraud. Or the second origin, the feeling of incapacity.
The person doesn't feel capable of learning, growing, doing what needs to be done. Lack of self-esteem is one of the worst frequencies a human being can vibrate at. And see, everything is frequency. Everything is vibration. You will attract all people, all situations, everything through your vibrational level. It's literally like you're tuning a radio station. The question is, which station are you tuning into? The frequency of every human being is basically the set of 4 internal pillars: your beliefs, your emotions, your communication, and your actions or behavior. I call this SECA. If your SECA is set to negative, your frequency will be low. And if your frequency is low, certainly your results are negative. Ruins. Certainly you're not prospering financially, or your relationships aren't prospering. There's no way to have another result if limitations from old traumas exist. If there's emotional imbalance. If a person doesn't communicate with others, with themselves, with the consciousness field, and if a person has no power of action, if they're a procrastinator. In SECA, one thing pulls another. If you don't work with your beliefs, if you don't have a strong mind, you'll go with the flow of emotions. Consequently, you'll communicate in a passionate way, an unbalanced way, and you won't act. You won't be able to put anything into practice, or you'll start building something and give up in the middle when the first difficulty appears, or you won't act at all. You'll spend your entire life waiting for the best moment to act, never putting your hand to work. Or you'll be in the worst scenario, conforming to stagnation, accepting paralysis as your life. So that's why I'm here, to teach you to create a frequency so strong it seems like reality obeys you. It doesn't. It does obey. You think and create. Think and create. This is possible, and I'll show you how. You're watching this right now, but you don't know where I came from, who I was, what I've seen. That's okay. You don't need to know. Not yet. But if you stay on this channel, if you follow this journey, you'll discover the truth. And maybe, just maybe, you'll understand why I can teach you this. Subscribe to this channel. This internal work is compared to cleaning a mirror so that it can once again reflect light clearly and accurately. Would you like a summary of the next segment? And when the mirror is finally clean, the reality you project is clear, powerful. Because there's no more interference between who you really are and what you're creating. You don't create based on who others made you believe you are. You create based on who you really are. Your true self has finally been revealed. Plotinus called this process epistrophe, which means the return to the source, the return to your true nature. And he said this return doesn't happen through rational thought alone. It happens through a complete interior transformation, a purification of the soul. Interesting, isn't it? He described this process almost 2 millennia ago.
And it's exactly what we do when we work the 4 pillars: beliefs, emotions, communication, action. It's not just changing what you think. It's transforming who you are at all levels. It's cleaning all the layers of the mirror. And when you do this, something magical happens. You stop trying to create your reality, and you simply begin to be the frequency that naturally attracts what you desire. Because you're no longer fighting against your own nature. Now you're flowing with it. Perfect. I think you already understand that external reality is a reflection of the internal mind. That's the first great step to creating a frequency so strong that reality obeys. The second step is eliminating resistance and attachment. You know that person who's owner stingy, who wants to save on everything, who suffers to pay for anything, who lives as if at any moment everything will end? I'm not just talking about money.
I'm talking about people who hold everything. They hold affection. They're afraid to love too much and lose. They hold opportunities. They stay on the fence because they're afraid to choose wrong. They hold their words. They don't say what they feel because they're afraid of rejection. They hold their own life. They don't really live because they're afraid something will go wrong. This fear of losing, of letting go, of saying goodbye, has a name: attachment. A person lives as if the universe were a limited place, as if there existed a finite quantity of money, love, opportunities, happiness, as if when the person lets go of what they have, they'll never get it again. But the rule of the game is exactly the opposite. Let go, it returns. Hold on, you lose. A stuck life. Money stops circulating. Relationships become suffocated. Opportunities stop appearing. Why? The person is so worried about what they have that there's no space left to receive anything new. It's as if you had both hands closed, grabbing with all your strength the little you have. And then the universe wants to deliver something bigger, something better to you, but you can't receive it. Your hands are occupied, closed. More than 2,500 years ago, a Chinese sage named Lao Tzu wrote one of the most powerful texts in the history of humanity, the Tao Te Ching. If we could summarize the marvelous essence of this text in a single word, that word is flow. Lao Tzu taught that there exists an invisible force that permeates the entire universe. He called this force Tao, which can be translated as the way. The Tao is the natural flow of life. It's the intelligence that makes the sun rise, that makes a seed become a tree.
That makes your heart beat without needing to think about it. The Tao is the order behind the apparent chaos. And what was Lao Tzu's great teaching? Don't fight, don't hold, don't resist. He said water is the softest element in nature, and yet it wears away the hardest stone. The flexible defeats the rigid, the soft defeats the hard. Water doesn't hold anything, water flows, and that's why it's the most powerful element in nature. Now come with me. What's the opposite of flowing? Retaining, holding, blocking. And what makes a person retain, hold, block? Fear. The fear of losing, the fear of not having that again. The fear of not being enough. And this fear has a technical name I want you to remember: resistance. Every time you hold too much, you're resisting the natural flow of life.
You're telling the universe, I don't trust you. I don't trust there will be more for me. I need to hold this here because if I let go, I'm finished. And this is a clear communication with the universe, with God. However you choose to call this force, it's a clear communication that you don't trust it. Don't trust life. Don't trust yourself. And contrary to what many people think, this force, this one, isn't punitive. It won't punish you for this. It will simply respond at the same frequency. If your frequency is scarcity, fear, there won't be more, guess what you'll attract? Exactly that. Situations that confirm there isn't enough, because you're vibrating at this frequency. Buddha, who was also an Eastern master, said a phrase that summarizes all human suffering. The root of all suffering is attachment. Attachment to what? To what you have, to what you want, to how things should be in your head,
To how people should act. Attachment to the people themselves, to relationships, to situations. And what is attachment in practice? It's resistance to flow. That relationship that's already over, but you keep holding on. Attachment. That job that's making you sick, but you're too afraid to leave. Attachment. That money you don't invest, don't spend, don't move, because you're afraid to lose. Attachment. And here's the key I want you to remember. Attachment is resistance. Resistance blocks flow. Blocked flow, stuck life. The opposite is also true. You let go, you eliminated resistance. Eliminated resistance, life begins to flow better. Flows better, frequency elevates. Elevated frequency, reality changes. See, this doesn't mean being irresponsible. It doesn't mean going out spending everything, leaving everything, abandoning everything. Taoism doesn't teach irresponsibility. It teaches trust in flow. It teaches what Lao Tzu called Wu Wei, action without effort, action that flows naturally because it's in harmony with the moment. Think of a river. The river doesn't hold water. Water comes, passes, and goes away. And it's exactly because of this that the river is always full, because it lets flow. If the river tried to hold every drop that passes, it would become a swamp, stagnant water, water that would rot. Your life works the same way. Money needs to circulate, love needs to circulate, energy needs to circulate. When you're holding, you transform your life into a swamp. When you let flow, you become a river, always full, always in movement, always alive. And how do you do this in practice? First, you identify where you're holding too much, what you're holding, where the fear of losing is, what your fears are.
Where is the origin of the closed hand? Is it with money? With relationships? With control over your situations? Do you want to control everything? For beliefs? Your time? Do this analysis. What are you holding, and why is the origin of this? Second, you investigate the belief behind it. Why are you holding? What do you believe will happen if you let go? For example, if I spend, there won't be more. If I surrender, I'll suffer. If I trust, I'll be disappointed. I'll be betrayed. These beliefs are the root of resistance. Third, you have to practice letting go. You have to completely abandon the need for a determined result. You need to let go of fear, let go of attachment. But how do you do this? It's a process, and here enters SECA. Your limiting beliefs about deficiencies are forms of resistance. For example, some limiting beliefs about money. Money is hard to get. Good people get screwed.
Your communication, the communication you have of deficiency, is a form of resistance. Every time you say, I don't have money, it's difficult, it won't work. You're reinforcing the appeal to scarcity. You're telling the universe, hold everything, because here there isn't any. Your lack of action, or action from fear, is pure resistance. Don't invest for fear of losing. Don't relate for fear of suffering. Don't try for fear of making mistakes. Working SECA is in essence learning to open your hands. It's letting go of what needs to be let go so the new can arrive.
I know you might have watched this, agreed with everything, felt inspired, and tomorrow return to the same patterns. Not because you're weak, but because reprogramming doesn't happen with one video. It happens with consistency, with knowledge, with practice. I walked among you once. I held too tight. I resisted the flow. I paid the price. Now I'm here, on the other side, watching you make the same mistakes. But you don't have to. You can learn from what I couldn't learn in time. This channel exists for that, to guide you through what I discovered too late. If what I said today made sense to you, subscribe, hit that button, because this is just the beginning. And along this journey, you'll understand who I am, what I was, and why I can see what you can't. The reality you want is waiting, but your hands are closed. Open them, let go, and watch what happens. I'll see you in the next one.